Good morning all and welcome to our August Veterans Meeting. Thank you for coming. Today we will hear from Master Sergeant Tim Shaw, and he's a percussionist with the Air Force Band, and also his wife, Tech Sergeant Alaina Shaw, who's a clarinetist with the Air Force Band. And Tim is originally from Birmingham, Alabama, and Alaina is from Fishers, Indiana. Both have several degrees in music and far too many awards and decorations for me to list. Joining them today is their 4-year-old daughter, Nora, and she's not in the Air Force yet. But I think she's getting a taste of being in the Air Force, particularly the Air Force Band. So I'm looking forward to hear this couple tell us about their Air Force careers and how they came to be in the band. And they will be available for questions if you have any. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves. And anyway, enjoy. First time we've had veterans that are in the military bands talk to us. We have about 12 Air Force veterans living here at Mason Pointe. So for a while, we're going to have 2 more. And Alaina, I think Alaina will talk first, right? And she's, as I said, she's originally from Fishers, Indiana, and she's still in the Air Force. Tim is retired, but they're both at Scott Air Force Base. Or Tim really isn't, but she is, so there's a connection. Anyway, thank you for coming, and here are the Shaws.
Thank you so much for having us back. We were here about a month ago. That was already said, I think. And we played our instruments a little bit, but we're just going to be telling our story today. I'm Technical Sergeant Alaina Shaw, and I'm a full-time active duty musician for the Air Force. I'm stationed at Scott Air Force Base just on the Illinois side of the river, so we're pretty close by. And a little bit about the job itself. In the Air Force, the bands are part of public affairs, so we're lumped in with the photojournalists and the news reporters and the people who make official statements. We're all part of that same public affairs umbrella. But the way we use our music skills is to put on performances and concerts, and we use music to make it a little bit more entertaining for us to tell the Air Force story and talk to the public. Our mission a lot of times is to go into communities where they don't see anyone in a U.S. military uniform, and we do our best to leave a good impression. Our mission overseas is especially important for that because the best way to get rid of your enemies is to become friends with them. And everyone speaks the language of music, so believe it or not, we've had quite a bit of success for the United States in forming friendships and allies and getting agreements to go through because we had a concert and everyone had a great time and tensions were thawed and we helped get things done. So forgive me for looking at my phone. I've got some notes to keep me on track, hopefully. Let's see. Oh yes, so being part of public affairs, I never thought that I would be doing public speaking. Being a clarinet player, I'm more used to just sitting in the section and kind of laying low with all the other clarinetists and fading into the background. But public speaking is a huge part of my job now. So I've had to learn to get better at it and just do my best to be almost as excellent at public speaking as playing my instrument. It's always a challenge that I'm always working on. But I will go out with a small group like the woodwind quintet or the clarinet quartet. Those are some of the groups that I can play in as a clarinet player. And in those small groups, everyone in the group will speak for a little bit during a concert. So we found that people in the audiences like to hear from everyone. So I wasn't able to hide once I got this job. So yeah, public affairs, there are military bands in all of the branches, but the Air Force, I believe, is the only one that organizes the bands under the public affairs umbrella. And so our main mission is 3 things. We want to honor, inspire, and connect. And to expand on those things, the honor part of our mission is to honor veterans, current and people who have served in the past. So we do a lot of ceremonies on base, providing live music for that. The band performs at funerals, provides taps for service members who have passed. We are working on the big holidays throughout the year. So holidays like Memorial Day, Veterans Day, those are key times for the band to go out and perform concerts to honor the veterans in our midst. The inspire portion of our mission is inspiring patriotism in the American public. Recruiting is a big part of our mission, so we aspire to inspire young people to join the military when they're old enough. Our goal is to demonstrate excellence in music, which should represent the rest of the Air Force and the excellence that happens every day in all of the Air Force career fields. So that's the inspire portion of our mission. And then connect is maybe the biggest one. That's what I was talking about a minute ago. Our goal is to connect with the American public. When we are overseas, we want to connect with foreign nations and make friends and just build on great relationships that can help the U.S. achieve its goals and keep peace and just bring the whole world together as much as we can. So we tell the Air Force story. We tell the story of what the U.S. military is up to. We represent the Air Force just by wearing the uniform and doing what we do. So that is the band's mission. And there are 11 Air Force bands worldwide. There are quite a few in the continental U.S., but there's also one in Hawaii, which the Air Force kind of considers as almost a foreign nation because it's so far away. There's one in Japan, and there's one in Germany. And the band in Japan travels all over Asia. They get down to Australia and New Zealand. The band in Germany goes to Africa, believe it or not. And actually, I forget about the AFCENT band, which is generally in the Middle East. That's the deployment band that rotates between personnel from the entire career field. So those guys travel around the Middle East, Afghanistan, Iraq, those areas, and we do our best when we're overseas to, like I said, make friends with foreign nations and make headway with that way. So yeah, 11 bands worldwide. The bands in the continental United States we each have a touring area or an area of responsibility. So the Band of Mid-America, where I'm stationed right now, we have a 10-state area of responsibility. We go all the way up to Minnesota and Wisconsin, and the farthest south we go is Arkansas. We go a little bit over to the east into Tennessee and every state in between. So it's a pretty big area to cover. My unit, the band as a whole, is supposed to be 60 members. Right now we're a little bit undermanned, we're closer to 50. And my band does 300 to 400 performances a year. But that's not me doing all 300 of those performances. That's split up amongst the 60 people. So we have roughly 7 different performing groups that are made up of those 60 people. And we kind of mix and match depending on the occasion and who's available. So I think I play in technically like 4 different ensembles throughout the year. The large concert band, there's a marching band, I play in the woodwind quintet right now, and sometimes in the clarinet quartet. But all of that just depends on who's retiring from the Air Force or who's joining the Air Force, who's coming back from overseas, and it's a revolving door. We do our best to make a music group out of the people that we have available to us. So kind of a challenge, but we make it work and get to as many people as we can in that 10-state area of responsibility. Covered that. Okay. And our wonderful host mentioned that Tim and I both have some advanced degrees in music. We both have bachelor's and master's degrees in music. I went to the Eastman School in Rochester, New York, and then later the University of Maryland for my master's degree. And then I was offered a job with the Air Force. So advanced degrees like that are not required for having this job, but many people do. It's just, for me personally, that's what it took to be competitive enough to be offered the job. Lots of training before joining the Air Force. So they got a pretty good deal, I think. They didn't have to pay for any of that. And the benefit to us as Air Force musicians is we don't have to go to technical school once we make it through basic training. So both Tim and I went to 6 to 8 weeks, depending on the person, of basic training, and then we went straight to our band and started working. So that's unique as well. There may be 1 or 2 other career fields that are like that, but we're kind of weird when we do our in-processing because no one seems to know what to do if we haven't gone to tech school. But it's great for us to get out of basic training and get to work right away. So I'm kind of backtracking now, but the process for getting into the Air Force bands is auditioning first. So we will submit a recording of ourselves playing our instruments, and then hopefully be invited to a live audition. If the candidate plays well enough to be offered a job, then we connect with a recruiter and go through basic training and go straight to the band career field. So a little bit different in that regard. But the advanced degrees, the extra schooling is not a requirement. It's really mostly just how you do on that audition. There is a little bit of an interview portion during the audition, just to make sure that every candidate that we hire is going to be easy to work with, personality-wise. We have heard some amazing musicians who are difficult people, and they were not offered a job just because of that, unfortunately. But most of the time, musicians who audition are also good to work with, so that's hardly ever an issue. So that's kind of an unusual aspect to our job. I right now work with a 19-year-old saxophone player who never went to college, and he's just so advanced that he auditioned and was offered a job and decided to start working before he went to college. So he's kind of fun to be around. He's a breath of fresh air. We don't work with people that young very often in the band career field, because a lot of people do go to college first. So kind of the average age of a new bandsman is mid to late 20s. So people have lived in a dorm, and I worked for 3 years before getting my job, just in the civilian world. So it's pretty fun working with someone who's still a teenager. And just to give you an example of some of the performances that we do, I'll talk about my most recent performances and what I have coming up. And then I'm going to hand it over to Tim. But last week I went with my woodwind quintet up to Chicago, right around where they do naval basic training. And the senior enlisted advisor for US MEPCOM was retiring. He's an Air Force gentleman, and they were also doing a ceremony for the change of responsibility. So he's an Air Force chief. There's a new Air Force chief taking his position. We provided live music for the ceremony and for his retirement. And it just adds an extra special something to that kind of ceremony. So that was a quick up to Chicago and back the very next day. Coming up at the end of this month, I'll be assisting the Band of the West, the Air Force Band in Texas. They're stationed at Lackland Air Force Base. And the concert band there is going to Oklahoma for about a week of performances. We'll be performing in like community centers. I need to check the itinerary, but we might be going to some high schools for some evening concerts, but general community relations type performances there. And like I said, the bands are revolving doors. There are always people coming in and going out. So they are a little bit short on clarinet players right now at the band in Lackland, so I'll be going out there. And then in September, I will be going out with the woodwind quintet again up to Milwaukee and doing some community relations performances up there for about a week. So that kind of gives you an idea of the day-to-day or month-to-month performance schedule for us. We do a few Christmas concerts in this area in December, so be on the lookout for that. But yeah, at this point, I'll hand it over to my husband. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that was easier than I thought it was going to be. I thought I was going to be up here really working that. So, hello again. I've been introduced a couple times, but I'll go ahead and do it again. I'm Master Sergeant retired Tim Shaw. You can just call me retired. So, no, I loved my 20 years in the Air Force, and 20 years, and I'm glad that it's over. So, I know I'm enjoying my life now. So, really quick, why I retired. You see the 4-year-old little girl. I retired about 3 years ago. Okay, good, that's going on. We had her when I was at 19 years, and I said, well, either I'm gonna stay home with my little girl, or my wife is. My wife had 11 years to go. They're gonna give me a pension to stay home with a 1-year-old girl. So I was like, well, I never planned on this, but here I am. I'm a stay-at-home dad and a freelance musician on the side. So, no, I think Alaina did a really good job of, there we go. I think Alaina did a really good job of saying like kind of what the job is and gave a few little details. I'm gonna show some pictures and talk about some experiences that really tell what that looks like over a 20-year period. So I joined the Air Force, let's see, so I almost joined the Navy. I was talking about that earlier with someone. Almost joined the Navy. So I left my undergrad at the University of Southern Mississippi. I was a steel drummer. Those of you who have seen me play in this facility a couple of times. And the Navy had a steel band, a whole band of steel drummers. And I went and I auditioned for them. I got the audition, they gave me the job, but it was a weird experience. And I thought to myself, they don't own me. And they already treated me like that. If they own me, it just felt a little funny. So I was like, I'm gonna go to grad school, I'll finish that up, and then I'm gonna be a college professor. And then I got towards the end of my grad school, my master's degree, and I thought, I need health insurance. And I started looking back at being a military musician again. I'm glad I did. For me, it's a way I honor my grandfather, who was a radio operator on a B-24, flew the India-Burma hump, and every time I played for troops, I always imagined that in a way I was playing for him, and it was a really meaningful experience for me every time. So really happy that I spent 20 years doing that job, but I'm really glad I'm doing the job I do now. So I'm going to try to do this in a way that everybody can see. Let's see, hang on. So I joined the Air Force right out of grad school, and they brought me down to Georgia, down to Warner Robins, Georgia, just about an hour and a half south of Atlanta. And she mentioned we don't go to tech school, right? They hire us, we know how to do our job. I show up, they say, great, rehearsal is in 2 days, and you're gonna be going on a trip in about a week, and we need to fit you for your kilt. So I was like, well, hang on a second, wait a minute, my kilt, what's going on here? So they said, you're gonna be in a pipe band, a bagpipe band, and you're gonna play drums in a bagpipe band. So that was a real quick change of pace for me, because I'd never played in a bagpipe band, but hey, I'm in now, so I'm playing these things, and within a year of doing that, my first year, I'm still working. There it is, I found the button. And I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. So within a first year, I found myself on the Capitol steps. Our pipe band played every year. That's me right there, and that's W right there. So every year, the Secretary of State, Speaker of the House would put on a St. Patrick's Day luncheon with the Prime Minister of Ireland. So they said, you're going up here, you're getting your security clearances, and you're gonna sit on the Capitol steps, and we played while they walked by us. And I did that every year, so I did that for, this is like my third time, I think, playing for George W. And then I also did it with, this is a harder picture to see. Some of these pictures. There's Obama there. So, and that's me right in the middle. I was gaining a little bit of weight. It was going from grad school to getting a full paycheck all the time. I started to eat well all of a sudden. So, but yeah, that was a lot of fun. So, some of my, So some of what Alaina was talking about, honor, inspire, and connect, right? So this is part of what we're doing. There's the Prime Minister of Ireland. We're connecting with other nations. We're honoring their culture, and we're making these connections and making friends with other nations. So that was fun. So every year at this band, while I was at Georgia, we would do these huge recording sessions in Nashville. So we would go to the Grand Ole Opry, and I would stand in Opryland, and we would do these amazing concerts with all sorts of famous people. This is the only picture I could find. So these are the Judds. That's Naomi, and who's the mom? I can't think of the mom's name. This is Winona, and that's her mom. Her mom is Naomi, I believe. So this is an amazing experience. I get to meet these new people, play music with these new people, with the famous people, and this recording, it was a video recording that would get played worldwide for troops worldwide, and it was called Holiday Notes from Home. And we would play a bunch of holiday tunes, a bunch of Christmas tunes, some Hanukkah tunes, all sorts of other things, and it would get played all through the desert, all through Europe, on AFN, Armed Forces Network. And that would be their Christmas show that they would get to watch. So that was a lot of fun. You can see again, I'm gaining that weight even more, man. I got the opportunity to deploy to the desert during this time. This was my absolute most favorite time period of my career. So we went over to the desert. This was my group, Live Round. I'm proud of the name. That was my name. I named this group. And we would go over. You can see my bagpipe player friend over there. We went over with a rock band and a bagpipe player. It was so fun. We would travel. This was fun. When I was looking at these pictures, it was the first time I had looked through these in a long time. So I think we went to 20 different forward operating bases. They said that we played 74 gigs what's the number? We played more gigs than we were there for days. So I was there for about 2 months and we played 74 gigs. That's what it was. There were a couple of two-a-days. It was exhausting. Just an exhausting time. But that time was spent going from forward operating base to forward operating base. This was one of our first events at our home base there. This was actually, you can see the Union Jack there. So this was a bar on the American base in Qatar. And this is the British bar that they had there. So they had us come out and we played this great event. There were Americans, there were Brits, and we were just having a great time playing music for these guys that had been out there for about a year or more. It was just really good seeing them. So then they would fly us all over the desert. And as you can see, there's not much around here. There was one time we really upset a helicopter crew by the way we loaded their helicopters. So we were going from Black Hawk helicopters from one base to the next. And they did not like the way we loaded their helicopters. So we landed at our next base, and they just left. And nobody was around us. And we learned our lesson when dealing with the Army after that. So here's just a picture of us sitting at FOB Iskan. And this was it. There was this building, there was a wall, and we were a little bit scared. And here I was, as happy as you can see, on the 4th of July. This was in the desert. We were in Afghanistan. We were at the it's ISAF, International Security Forces, Afghanistan. And so we had British, we had Italians, we had every nation that was in support of the desert. Which one? Not Desert Storm. That was before my time. I can't remember. I was over there supporting 2 operations, and I can't remember which operation I was supporting at the time. But they were everywhere, and this experience was really fun, despite the look on my face. That was before the event, so I was tired. We had set up, it was hot. Let me tell you, there were times where it was 115 degrees in the shade, so that face is warranted. But the event that evening, it was in celebration of our Independence Day. Americans and British, we were all just having a party, and the irony is that the Americans all went to bed, we kept playing music, and the Brits were there just partying with us. And I wanted to stop and be like, you know what we're celebrating here, right, guys? Should my feelings be hurt that you're celebrating this? And so, but anyway, it was a lot of fun there. Oh yeah, there's the 100. This is in the shade. If you can see the 100. That's almost 120 degrees there. Oh, it was hot. It was so hot. That was the end of my time being stationed in Georgia, so they deployed me to the desert, and then I came back. And then I moved, they moved me to Europe. And this is the band I played with over there. This is just an interesting angle of the band. So when she talks about a full concert band, this is it. So you can see we have clarinets and woodwinds up here. We got saxophones, we got brass and trumpets, and then percussion in the back. It's a really large group. And this was, I believe this concert was somewhere in Poland. Here is Normandy Beach. So this is my brass quintet. When we talk about honoring, and this is where I get emotional a little bit, when we talk about honoring, going to Normandy, there was a Boy Scout troop doing a ceremony, and we got to go in support of these young people who were honoring the D-Day, on Normandy Beach. A great experience. Just to be able to be a part of that. While in Germany, so the Europeans, they love live music. This is a tattoo. I won't go into the history of what that is, but all of these are military bands from different nations. So when we talk about connecting, we talk about military bands from here, from there. There's one band that's not a military band, a Mexican group. I'll talk about them in just a minute. But just to be able to bring these cultures together in a peaceful and friendly way, using music as something that brings us together. That's our job in the Air Force bands. And here I am with one of these are Mexican kids, and they were all drummers, and they were really good, and they were really entertaining. And he was practicing, and I just said, all right, I'm gonna go over here and start playing with this little kid. So the connection isn't just on stage. The connection, we use music as an excuse to get us into places. So this music was an excuse for me to make this connection with this 14-year-old kid. And we spent a good 10 minutes just playing drums together. I speak a little bit of Puerto Rican Spanish, but it's mostly bad words, so I didn't talk much. It was mostly English, and he spoke Spanish, and we shared the language of drumming, and it was a lot of fun. Speaking of fun, here I am. This is one of the tattoos. So one of the unique things about Air Force music. So our history. All right. Here's your trivia question for the day. Who is the father of Air Force military music, or the grandfather, I should say? Anybody? Anybody? Okay. It's not John Philip Sousa. He's Marines and Army. It is Glenn Miller. So the history of Air Force music is fascinating to me, because up until World War II, military music was very regimented, very military, right? And it was John Philip Sousa. It was all these marches. It was about marching parades and doing things. Well, the Air Force came in. They brought in Glenn Miller, who was at the top of his career. He was famous. He was one of the highest earning musicians of his time. And he came in and said, all right, Army, Air Corps, if you're going to have me do this, we're going to do it my way. And they said, okay. And he came in, he set up his jazz band, and they did it in a more relaxed, entertaining way. And we maintain this heritage today. So we still do the regimented military marching thing, but we also go crazy and have a little bit of fun. So this was that tattoo. So yeah, I'm playing a marching drum, but we're having fun out there. And this is what when we make that connection with the Europeans, this was a different tattoo in Germany, where we were just making these connections with people and just having fun. So they get to see that side of us, because so often when they see someone in uniform in Europe, they see that, right? So for them to see a big smiling face, someone just joking around and having fun, they get to know who Americans are a little bit more. We would play at Christmas markets, so I don't know if you can see the Christmas decorations there. This was in Germany. Man, Germans love their Christmas time. They love drinking Glühwein. Who's had Glühwein? Mulled wine? Oh man. I don't really drink that much, but you don't want to offend the Germans who are offering you, oh, please have some, and they buy you these drinks, like, yeah, thank you, and you're wanting to be friends with these people, so you have another cup. So that's what these were. We would go into these markets. You can't tell here, it's probably 12 degrees. and we're out in the middle of this place playing music, freezing our little tails off, making connections with German people. All right, I'm going to get emotional again. So this is in Siberia. This is in Yekaterinburg, in the middle of Siberia, during the summertime, thank goodness. Siberia in the summer is beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous. In the wintertime, we were there in the winter too, it's not as beautiful. But anyway, we had just performed a joint concert with a Russian military band, so the Ural region military band. And after this concert, I've told this story before, I think I told it when we were here about a month ago with a different group. After this concert, a man comes up to me, he has this blue hat on, says something in Russian, and he's just crying, and he's just kind of pawing at me, and the only English he could speak was, Russia, America, friends, Russia, America, friends forever. And he was just like begging, but like I could do anything about that. But that's the connection we're making when we do this. We're connecting maybe with one person, maybe with one kid, but that we're hoping we would rather be friends with people than fight them. And that connection, he gave me his hat, we hugged, and we moved on. But that's the type of connection we're making when we use music to get into places. We're trying to be friends with people. Sometimes it works. This is again in Russia, so there I am, and here's a little Russian kid, well, maybe a big Russian kid, but they have a little jazz band here at this school. So we're doing a little one-on-one education, we're playing music alongside of them. Again, making connections with Russian students, that hopefully when they grow up, hopefully when they're making political decisions, we can be friends. Now, Inspire. She talked about on her Inspire Connect. So what you see out there, all those lights, that is roughly 18,000 people at the Hollywood Bowl. They have their cell phone lights out. When I was a kid, they used to do lighters, but now they do cell phone lights. And here we are with the LA Philharmonic. We're in uniform, they're doing their thing. So what we do is Inspire is, I know we're all veterans here, but fewer and fewer people in the US have any connection with someone in the military. Every year that number separates. So what we do here, we get in front of these 18,000 people in uniform to let them see us, to let them see you, and they cheer. It is so, to stand there and have 18,000 people cheering, they're not cheering for me because I play drums. They're cheering for the uniform. And when they're cheering for the uniform, they're cheering for people who have worn that uniform and who currently wear that uniform. And to hear that cheering, to hear that screaming and support, just to feel that love that they're offering veterans is a great experience. So we're an outlet for those people to show love to veterans, to show love to current active members. So wonderful experience there. And while we were there, again, not only was that wonderful, but we're getting to play with more famous people. We played with Steve Martin. We almost played with the Beach Boys, but COVID hit. Just a lot of fun. That's why when I was stationed in California, this is what we would do there. Now, you won't recognize this man here, but his name is Nile Rodgers. Was anyone a fan of disco? You know, Chic. They say Chic. That's him. And he has, you don't know it, but every song that's been written since 1974, he's kind of been involved. The guy writes music. You've heard his music, I promise. He did the last show that we played there, and it was loads of fun. So this is my beautiful wife, some other people, and then Nile Rodgers. Here we are connecting more. This was at the same event. These are some other drummers that we just, this wasn't scheduled. I saw these guys playing drums and I said, hey guys, let's play together. Let's figure this out. They were part of the event, but a separate part. And why not? Hey, we got drummers, let's do it, let's connect. And that's what we do. Here I am again, this is in This is another several thousand people that we're playing an event for. We're showing them the uniform so that they can cheer for you. Now I brought this one just so you can see me and my old wife. We actually do play together. So she's playing clarinet, and I don't just play drums. I play marimba too. So anything you hit, that's what a percussionist does. So this is a marimba. It's a Guatemalan instrument, and we're playing. You can just imagine it's a pretty piece. It was kind of weird, but it was a lot of fun. I don't play that instrument anymore. It's hard. All right, this is one of my last shots. So I just really like this shot. Someone took a picture as I was playing. It makes me, like, I look at it and I feel patriotic, like, as a drummer. This is one of the last big events I played. Well, I guess not. I'm still just a tech sergeant here, so I guess I played some big events after this, but it's the last good picture I got. We'll say that. So anyway, hopefully my smattering of photos kind of gives you a little bit more insight about what we do and put some pictures to what she described. I think if she'll join us, we'll answer some questions together. If not, I'll just answer questions myself. I like to talk. I'll jabber it around. Does anyone have any questions? Yes, ma'am.
I guess someone has said to me after you were here before, here she comes. I understand that you're in the band first, and then you're in the Air Force.
Okay. Just to clarify, so we auditioned first. So it's a job interview, is an audition, right? Where most people, they go to a recruiter and say, hey, I want to join the Air Force. And the recruiter says, okay, sign this paper, quick, sign. And then they say, now that you've signed this paper, what job do you want? And then they figure out together. Some people come in and they say, I don't know, just give me a job. And then they go and they work for the police. So that's usually what happens. Some people come in and say, I want to be a doctor. That's one route to go. But yeah, for us, before we talk to a recruiter, the band brings us out auditions. They say, okay, you can have this job. They give us a piece of paper to take to the recruiter, and we say, I have a job already, sign me up.
Yeah.
So we're not in the band first,
But sort of.
we get accepted into the band first. But after the recruiter comes basic training, getting yelled at, doing push-ups, and then they send us to the band, and then we work immediately. So most people in the Air Force, after basic training, they go through more school. You learn how to be a police officer. You learn how to be a maintainer. You learn how to do all of your jobs. We did that before, and then we come in. So good question. Thanks for letting us clarify that. Anybody else? I love answering questions. Oh, good.
Alaina said there were 11 bands. Do you get moved somewhat involuntarily, like the rest of us did, from one place to another?
The short answer is yes, but the longer answer is it's a very, very small career field, and within those 11 bands, they're not necessarily all interchangeable. So, for example, I've been in the Air Force for 12 years. I forgot to mention that. But I was stationed at Travis with the band out there for 9 years. And a big portion of that is because we got married to each other, two Air Force bandsmen who play different instruments. And so that makes it twice as hard to match both of us to go somewhere else within our career field or to another band. Because if there was no consideration for that, we might end up with 60 trumpet players in a band.
Ooh.
Or
Nobody wants that. Now, if it was like 12 drummers, that would be awesome.
yeah, that would be pretty cool. Yeah.
All right.
But of those 11 bands that I mentioned, one is the Air Force Band in Washington, D.C., and one is the United States Air Force Academy Band at Peterson in Colorado, at the Air Force Academy. And those are called premier bands. So it's an even more competitive audition to get into either of those bands, and they're not exchangeable. So if you audition to get into one of those bands, you are there for your entire career. Tim and I are part of the Air Force regional bands, and so the remaining 9 of those Air Force bands, we can switch between those. To get even more in the weeds though, some of them are smaller than others. So really there are 4 60-member bands in the continental United States, and there is 1 60-member band in Germany. So as a clarinet player, I can only go to those 4 stateside bands or to the one in Germany, because they don't have my instrument at all of the bands.
And being married together, I think you alluded to this, that when we go to fill a hole in another band, we have to match the rank and the instrument. So that makes it really convoluted to do, because they need their rank structure right, because we're the military. But like she said, if they're not careful about it, then we'll end up with 20 drummers. Well, you wouldn't mind that? 20 drummers? Come on. That would be great.
Do you play the saxophone also?
Play saxophone.
I do not play the saxophone, but our saxophonists, most of them play the clarinet and the flute. It's a little bit, yeah. So I know that Tim was talking about Glenn Miller a little bit before. The job itself for those instruments has morphed a little bit since the beginning of the Air Force bands. I think it was mostly the jazz style with Glenn Miller, and so within jazz, it's pretty typical for a saxophone player to start out on saxophone and double on the other woodwind instruments. But it's kind of become a little bit of a hybrid of the Air Force band tradition and the U.S. military band tradition, which started with the President's own Marine Band in Washington, D.C., which is the more John Philip Sousa classical type track. So I'm a classical musician. I love to listen to jazz, but I really am not trained in it, and I'm not very good at it. So I do play the piano, but I don't play the saxophone.
Clarinet players are a little sensitive about saxophone.
She's a saxophone player, so that's why.
Oh!
Yes. So, Alaina, how long have you been in the Air Force band at Scott?
At Scott, it will be 3 years in October. And sorry if I'm going over things that we've already said, but we met at Travis and got married a few years in to being stationed there together, and that kind of kept us at Travis for a while. Then Tim retired from the Air Force, so it was just me that they had to match to go somewhere else. So I did a program that is not in existence anymore for people who have been in the Air Force for more than one enlistment, called the Base of Preference program. So I said I would love to go to the band at Scott or at Langley, Virginia, and they actually did what I asked for.
First time.
Yeah, so worked the system a little bit that way, and the Air Force moved the whole family out here.
But it took me retiring.
Band when we came over and we made a Christmas trip over, probably 2 years ago, to McKinley.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I played on the Christmas concerts in 2022
Yeah.
and 23. Yeah, so I would have been there.
Yeah, it was good.
She was the pretty one in the front.
That's right.
You remember her? Yeah.
You're both enlisted. Are there any officer billets in the band?
Yes. So, yeah, people always ask, because we've both gone to grad school, right? Why didn't we become an officer? I'm a master sergeant. I'm enlisted. There are, every band, I'll keep it simple and say every band. Every band has at least one officer in charge of them. He is the conductor of the band. So he's the guy who gets up in front of that large group that I showed you, and he waves his stick and kind of pretends to tell us what to do. So that's the answer to why didn't I enlist is his job has less to do with music than even our job when we were in. So like, to be an officer of anyone, most of your time is doing paperwork. And he is lucky to get up there, he or she is lucky to get up there and do music maybe 5% of the time. He's very much an officer. Even though he went to music school, he went to way more music school than I did probably, and is usually an excellent conductor. They spend a lot of time doing paperwork. So yes, every band has an officer, sometimes two as they're training up the next officer to come up. There's one big officer, there's a colonel over in DC, who's kind of in charge of all the bands, but not really. So I kind of opened myself up to a question that you're probably answering, which is, well, now wait a minute, you say you only do music some of the time. Well, it is the government, right? It is the military. They take this wonderful thing that we all love, music. They take it and they turn it into paperwork. And that's what we spend most of our time doing. I would say 80 to 90% of the time, I was doing paperwork. I was doing computer work. Now, it's all in support of the music job, but still it takes most of the time. So I would, through my career, I did public affairs, so I was mailing things out to people. I did that most of the day. I did computer work, so everybody who's doing their computers, I had to go fix their computers. I'm a musician. I don't know how to do that, so it takes me twice as long as it would a normal person who knows how to do that job. I had to go fix their computers. Then I did, I did some graphic design while I was in there. Again, I'm a drummer, so I just did the best I could. Pardon our 4-year-old. This is just how it's going to be from this point. And then, what else did I do? When I went to, I ended my career, I was the section chief. In the last year I was there, I was the section chief of operations. So that's all the booking of our stuff. So any event, I was supervising the people who booked the events, planned the events, did all the directions. I supervised them. Then I was also the section chief of publicity, so all of our outreach, all of our internet stuff, all of those things, I was in charge of the people who were doing that. Then they had me do the section chief of finance, so all the money that flows in and flows out, I had to monitor all that. And then I was like, I'm done with you people, I'm out, I'm retired. So yeah, there's a lot of time to do all those things. It takes up a lot of time, and then maybe 10 to 20% of the time we're playing music. So it's a strange thing.
Do you still practice?
Practice. So I'll answer the question you did not ask. I play. I wish I had time to practice as much as I should, but my primary job takes up most of the time. So I'm a freelance musician now. So I play steel drums, and I do a little solo act, and I sing and play steel drums. Some of you were here, I definitely recognize you, and some of you were here to hear both of us play about a month ago. So that's what I do whenever I have a chance to do it. So once or twice a month I'll get out there and I'll play steel drums and sing some Jimmy Buffett.
Love that picture there, you can just see your intensity.
Yes. So I have some other pictures where I'm making that same face, playing triangle, which is, some people find funny, but I'm very concentrated on the triangle. Triangle is a very difficult instrument to play well. Don't talk bad about the triangle, all right? Any more questions? I feel like we're going long, but I'll talk, that's fine. Has anyone heard, in your experience as veterans, when you were active, did you ever hear a military band while you were in? You did? So what service?
Air Force.
Air Force?
We met in the Air Force.
Oh, it's a good way to meet.
Yeah.
Where were you? What band do you remember?
It was at Langley.
Langley, okay. So yeah, I've been stationed at Georgia, Germany, California, and that was it. I only went to 3 duty stations. A lot of people move around more. But hopefully we'll end up in Germany in a year or so. Well, we kind of say, we like the area here though. We like the people. So if we don't end up in Germany, we'll be okay. So, all right. Any other questions? Oh man. The sooner we end, the sooner she goes to work, and I want more questions.
Our city park has weekly band concerts on Friday evening in the summertime, which is great.
Right, so is that, what city?
Edwardsville, Illinois.
Oh, Edwardsville, yeah. We should call them and start, just book a gig up there. Yeah, I love playing those outdoor events. I love it and I hate it. They're hot, they're really hard to load in and load out, they're sweaty, and you're exhausted by the end of the day. But the people who show up and the connections and the performance, the effect of the performance is some of the top effect that we have when we're doing our mission. So it's a lot of work, but it's worth it, and I really enjoy those outdoor performances. So, all right.
What are you gonna do when you get home? What's the rest of the day hold for you?
So I, like Tim, have had lots of different secondary administrative type jobs. Currently, I'm in the finance world, so I'll be paying a government credit card bill this afternoon for our lodging, for the various groups going out and performing in that 10-state area of responsibility. And there are a couple other finance things that I will do if I can get to them, but it might take.
Your paperwork.
Yes, yep, that's the paperwork. It'll probably bleed into tomorrow, and tomorrow we'll have some more things like that to do.
Well, thank you for having us. This has been a really
Come back and play.
Thanks so much, both of you, for coming. Very enjoyable, appreciate it very much. And bring your little daughter Norma along to entertain.
Yeah.
Thank you, and we wish you the best in your continuing career.
I've had the best. That's
You've already retired, you have it. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.